Yesterday I ran across a reel from Emily Wilson. She was saying a whole lot of things, and it just kind of took me for a spin. So I want you guys to check this out, and then I'll give you my reaction in a second.
Talk about reparations. We pay reparations. What do you mean you want reparations? Our taxpayer dollars, which are mostly white people paying that, goes to, what is it? Affordable housing, government programs, EBT, scholarships, DEI, you guys getting jobs. Holy shit. Let's take all that, factor in the theft, factor in the crime, factor it in the murders, and then we'll talk about reparations on this show. How about that? You probably won't like that, will you? Because you're not going to like the numbers. But we are all, frankly, exhausted.
Lord help us. But I'm going to have to address point by point by point of the shit she said. So she's supposed to be talking about reparations, so that's speaking towards black people. So I'll just go through the history of some of the groups who've gotten reparations in America. Jewish people got reparations, Japanese people got reparations. So I don't think it's outside the realm of understanding that black people who were slaves will receive reparations. But we will go through her points because I'm not even a proponent of reparations. I just don't like how she was speaking about black people. Now, for 200 years, black people were slaves. Millions of black people. So over between 10 to 30 million blacks, you have to dig into it. There's varying reports, but between 10 to 30 million black people were enslaved in the transatlantic slave trade when Europeans brought sub-Saharan Africans to America. Now, these black people worked for 200 years of free labor, were not paid. Some people want to be funny, say they got housing, but they didn't have citizenship. They didn't have rights. They didn't have a voice. They were raped. We know they were raped because majority of black people have 25% European DNA. A slave can't choose who they have sex with. And if black people were raping whites while they were slaves, they would have killed them. So there were white people sexually assaulting, I don't want to say sexually assaulting millions of blacks, but sexually assaulting a lot of black people. Now, for those 200 years, we helped with cotton. We helped with infrastructure. We helped build things. We helped the South's economy. We helped the American economy because they would use the things that we were picking and use the crops and things that we were tilling. They would use that for local Southern industry. They would use it for the Northern industry. And they were trading it across the waters to other governments. Now, all of that work that the black people were doing, they were not paid for. So, Emily, are the black people going to get reparations for that work? Are we going to take that into account when we talk about the crime and theft, which I will address later? Then after the 200 years of them being assaulted, of them being beaten, of them working for years and years and years and not being paid, that's what the reparations are for. The reparations are for the work that they did that they weren't paid for. But after those 200 years, there were 100 years of segregation. So let's run the numbers on this because you're talking about tax dollars. Well, black people did pay taxes when they were in Jim Crow in the South. So black people were paying taxes, but though they were paying taxes, they were not given the same treatment as whites who were also paying taxes, but they were given second-class citizenship. So black people couldn't sit at the front of the bus if white people got on. They couldn't use the same libraries. They couldn't use the same water fountains. They were paying for those buses. They were paying for those water fountains. They were paying for those politicians. They were paying for the programs you're talking about, but they could not utilize the programs because the programs went to white people first. Matter of fact, the reason why we have the problem we have right now in inner cities with blacks is because at one point they had poor Jewish people, poor Hispanic people, poor white people, non-Jewish whites, and poor blacks living in the ghetto in cities. What happened was the Democrats, because I tell the truth on both sides, what happened was the Democrats allowed for the white families to keep their father in the home and still receive welfare, and they allowed the fathers to move out to rural America. So what they did is they set up a system where they kept the white family intact, still gave them the government assistance, and moved them outside of the eye of the public. So what happened was the Hispanics and the blacks, who were people of color, started to live, were the predominant face of crime and welfare, because that's what you think. You think black people are the face of welfare. Yet 20 million white people use welfare, food stamps specifically. So 1/10 of the white population uses welfare, double the total amount. I know per capita blacks are using it more, but double the total amount of blacks on welfare or whites on welfare. But for some reason, when you think about welfare, you think about black people. Why? Is it maybe because of what I just told you, that you see poor blacks and you don't see poor whites, so you mistakenly think that welfare is a racial thing when welfare is an economic thing? Let me take a breath, calm my nerves. But On top of the fact that whites use welfare, you also spoke about DEI. So I want you to understand this. Black people are a minority. So in terms of people receiving jobs because of welfare, DEI, yes, it helps black people. Yes, it helps black women because there are black and women. But the group that is the largest beneficiary of DEI is white women, because white women are a larger population than black women and black people total combined. So they are giving benefits to people like you, white women, because of DEI. So you should probably shut your trap talking about, well, blacks are getting jobs because of DEI. So are you, sweetie. Let me take a minute to regroup and breathe. Now, like I said, guys, it's a lot I want to say. She starts talking about murder. Again, there are 45 million black people, 10,000 commit murder. I still don't understand how she wants to judge all 45 million black people by the 10,000 that commit murder. Does she not understand that you got white people walking around committing mass murders of innocent people? Black people have a gang problem. Black people will rob somebody for a car. Not just blacks, but I understand per capita it's more likely that a black will rob you for a car or rob you for your jewels. But these are isolated incidents that are affecting 1-2 people at a time. For the most part, you are not seeing black people go out there and shoot up random 30 people. Just walk in a grocery store, shoot up 40 random people. Stand at the top of a balcony, shoot 50 people. Go try to shoot the president. Go try to shoot Charlie Kirk, etc. So though there's a problem in the black community, it's crazy to me that all of this energy that you spew and send towards blacks, you don't try to hold whites accountable at all. You pretend like there are no whites on welfare, like it's not a problem. Then the problem with you talking about welfare, as I said, is really an economic thing. You don't seem to have a problem with wealthy whites supporting non-wealthy whites supporting non-wealthy whites, but you seem to have a problem with black people using the funds. I don't understand why your issue with welfare wouldn't be, okay, there are a group of people who are paying taxes. There's a group of people who aren't paying taxes. I could better understand your argument if you were saying, I think it's unfair that some people are paying taxes and putting in more than the group using it. The group using it and not using it is not based upon race. It's based upon economics, meaning 75% of black people don't get food stamps, don't get government housing, and don't get any of the benefits of welfare. So how are the black people benefiting from welfare if 75% of blacks do not receive welfare? Please explain that to me. It makes no sense, because you make no sense, because you are a low racist IQ bitch. Take one more second and let me see if there was any other points that she said in this. She talked about DI. She talked about welfare. She talked about the crime rate. She talked about the... I think I've addressed as much as I want to address on this topic. And I will say this, Emily. I don't have a problem with you criticizing the black community and saying that the black community could do better. I have a problem with you consistently trying to speak about black people as though blacks are the only group committing murder, as if blacks are the only group using welfare, as if blacks are the only group acting ignorant. You can't be blind to the facts of your own people and then expect people to take you serious when you criticize others. That's why when I consistently do this show, I make it a point to discuss that blacks are doing many of the things that you guys say at a higher rate than whites. But the bigger issue is that it's not about race. It's just about the people doing it. So I'll end this on crime. 6% of the black people are committing crime. That is a problem. A smaller percentage of blacks should commit crime. But 3% of whites are committing crime. A smaller percentage of whites should commit crime. So I think the issue is crime, not just black crime. Now, let me take a second, breathe, you guys. There's another clip that my producer pulled up that I haven't seen, because he knew that I saw something on Emily earlier, and he kind of knew this might turn into a tangent. So this is a clip. I don't know who it's from. This is from Miss X America, so I'll play it for you guys. But shoot, I see the caption. Not caption, but I see something. 13% of black people. Here we go again. But I'll let it play and see what they're talking about, what she's talking about. Oh, shit. I got to off mute. Here we go again. Okay, she's talking about 13% of blacks. She's saying that 45 million blacks receive 26% of the welfare. That is the 25% of blacks who utilize welfare. The other 75% of blacks do not utilize welfare. Now that's 25% of 13% who's using welfare. In the case of whites, you have 50% of the population they 10% of them use welfare, and then that 10% uses 50% of the welfare. So what you have is a gang. You have these racist white people trying to connect all the white people to welfare and all the black people to welfare, when really what you have is a small percentage of whites who use welfare and a small percentage of blacks who use welfare. So those people who are against welfare or who want to cut welfare, I understand. This small group of whites maybe needs to rely on welfare a little bit less. This small group of blacks maybe needs to rely on welfare a little bit less. And I think that if Miss America and ironically Emily Saves America, if they were true patriots, they would care about helping those who may need a little assistance, because some people who use welfare have jobs and they just don't have the jobs that are high paying. So if they had any sort of heart or any sort of empathy, they would be trying to help those who are on welfare get off, and they wouldn't be against working with the Democrats and the Republicans and the blacks and the whites and the Hispanics and the Asians to find a compromise, right? So if you do have a gripe with the people on welfare, many people say that there are people who have been on welfare for generations. That's a problem. Welfare was designed to help people struggling find jobs to better themselves. So there's nothing wrong with people trying to implement programs. As I mentioned before, the Republicans have a work policy that they're trying to implement for working age males. I support that. We should definitely have in the black and white community. Let's not constantly forget about Appalachia and rural America, where they got people on fentanyl, where they have people being raped, where they have people committing armed robberies, where they have people committing murders. Let's not forget about the people in Appalachia. Those people who have problems in their community, we should go in, we should try to help them, not just giving them money. I agree that just giving people money doesn't fix the problem. We need to find ways to better assimilate them, as Nick Fuentes brings up. Find a way to better assimilate them and have them be productive members in society. So Miss America, Emily Saves America, whenever you guys want to stop being racist, low IQ bitches, the blacks are here and willing to talk to you. Until then, Emily, this is my last thing about her. Until then, Emily, maybe instead of living in Los Angeles or Culver, wherever it is in California where you live, where they have blacks and Hispanics, why don't you move somewhere like Oklahoma, Kentucky, or West Virginia, where it's overwhelmingly white? And how about you let us know about the crime, rape, and welfare in an overly predominantly white area, and let us, the blacks, know how it is. If you like this video, please smash the like button, comment, and subscribe. New shows airing Monday through Thursday.